All set. That's the cotter key on the lower ball joint. Welcome back to Tech Garage. We're just about buttoned up. I'll be honest, we had to give some of the 100,000-mile parts some encouragement along the way. But we've got everything uninstalled and reinstalled, and we've taken our time. Everything from the lower mounting bolts, upper mounting bolts are torqued back to spec. The wheel bearing back in place, torqued back to spec. The caliper mounting bracket torqued back to spec. You see a pattern here? We're trying to be very precise all along the way because ultimately it's all about the alignment and how close we can get it until we get in for a professional alignment once the project's done. We were especially considerate of our eccentrics along the way, as I said. We want to make this final alignment adjustment relatively easy for our professional shop once we take the truck there. So I'm ever closer. I have one more mounting tab up here on top of the spindle that holds the wheel speed sensor in place. That's now tight. I made sure we did no damage to the wheel speed sensor connector up here. It's mounted back in the bracket, so nothing is going to get in the way as this suspension travels. But the alignment, I can't stress how important that is when you're lowering or raising a vehicle. John's going to help us understand exactly what that means.
Well, you've been hearing a lot about alignment, so how about a class Alignment 101? But before I talk about alignment, I want to look at some tire wear patterns. 2 are affected by alignment and 2 are not. Look up at the top left of the screen up there. You can actually see overinflation. Now my overinflated tire, that's pretty simple. Too much air, it's going to wear right in the middle. Over to the next of it, you can see underinflation. Not enough air, both sides are going to sag down, it's going to wear on both sides. Now feathering and camber are tire wearing problems that are going to be affected by alignment angles. What are alignment angles? Brian mentioned the eccentric. Well, whether it's an eccentric or you have some shims here, or you may have an offset bushing for the ball joint. All this right here allows you to do the alignment. It allows you to move the control arm, the shock tower, the strut, whatever it may be, to get those angles. And I'll give you a good demonstration. First one I want to talk about is camber. And my control arm, if I put it up here, and we want to take camber, you take the eccentrics on the truck over there, and we'll move them both out. We'll move them both out equal amounts. And what that's going to do, it's actually going to take the tire here and it's going to push it out. Now I'm over exaggerating it, but it's pushing it out. That's positive camber. If the tires are flared out like that, that's positive camber and it's going to wear on the outside edge of your tire. Just the opposite, if the control arm goes in at the top, it's going to pull the tire in this direction, and that's going to wear of the inside portion of the tire. So no matter what, if the control arm's out or in, you're going to have inside or outside tire wear, positive and negative camber. But think about it this way too. If I had my tires and I go this way, it's positive and negative, naturally I'm going to pull to the most positive side of that camber. Now the next alignment angle is caster. Now caster is not a tire wearing angle, but it helps the car stability, it helps the steering wheel return. Caster is also positive and negative, and I can do it right here on the spindle, which is pretty cool, or you can use your arm right at home. If I take the spindle and I move it with the eccentrics, one positive, one negative, I'm going to take the spindle forward. And if you take your arm at the top and move it forward, the wheel's going to move back in the fender well. That's negative caster. Now, negative caster may cause your car to wander a bit, so that's why we put positive caster. We put the control arm towards the back. That's positive caster. As it's going in that direction, the tires go up front. That gives you good stability. You ever rode your bicycle and let go of the wheel and it wants to go straight on its own? That's because the bicycle has a massive amount of positive caster built into it. And caster is not a tire wearing angle, but if you think about it, if I put one forward and I put one back, we're always going to pull to the most negative caster. The car's going to want to pull to that direction. So you may have a pull issue. The last one is toe. Now, we can take our tires here. It's pretty simple. Toe was controlled by the actual tie rod ends. And if I put a tire on each side of this car here, I'll just do it right in front of you. If we go ahead and we toe the tires in, that's positive toe. But you think about it, those tires are going down the road, we're scuffing from the outside to the inside direction. That's that feathering wear right there. Now we can toe them this way, toe out, and they're going to feather this way. So you want to make sure, after all that work, that those tires are lined up perfectly straight. Now you can do this right in the driveway. You can take a tape measure and go to the front of the tires, and then you can go to the back of the tires and just measure the distance and get them equal, and you can get it close. Now, Brian kept alluding to the eccentrics there and the alignment angles, and no matter what you do, if there's any suspension work you do on it or steering work, you can get it close, but you still need to get it to a professional alignment shop to the point where you can go ahead and get a perfect alignment. Well, we'll be right back with more Tech Garage right after this break.
Here's a Tech Garage pop quiz. Which of the following is likely to indicate a worn or damaged front spring? A. Noise. B. Incorrect ride height measurement. C. Failing a jounce test. Or D. Discoloration of the spring. The correct answer is B. Springs control vehicle ride height, and incorrect ride height measurement would indicate a worn spring.